Hi, I'm Kate Matz with William Vaughn Company. Today I'm going to be talking about choosing the 8-week covered period or the 24-week covered period for your PPP loan forgiveness. Let's get right into it. First off, some reasons why you might want to consider using the 8-week covered period. If you made it through those first 8 weeks of your covered period and did not have any reductions in either the number of employees or the hours that your employees are working, but you look out beyond those 8 weeks and think that you might have to reduce your employees or the hours that they're working, it might be more favorable for you to go ahead and just use that 8-week covered period. So when you reduce the employees or their hours, this is going to end up being a reduction to your FTEs, your full-time equivalents. And that could then reduce the forgiveness that you're eligible for. Number two would be you are going to be subject to whatever guidance is in place at the time that you submit your loan application. So if you use the 8-week covered period, you go through the calculation, you're in really good shape, you've gotten full forgiveness, might be good just go ahead, get that application in. That's going to shut off the time frame when you're going to be subject to whatever guidance is out there. So if guidance comes out subsequent to that, that's unfavorable to your calculation, that's not going to factor in and impact you. Third thing would be then the impact on other loans. So if you are going through the process now of trying to get a new loan with the bank or trying to refinance an existing loan, the fact that you've got this PPP loan out there with uncertainty as to what level of forgiveness it's going to have, this is going to be just another one of those things that the banks are going to have to kind of work through and figure out. So if you're able to remove that uncertainty, show that full forgiveness, that will help through the process of getting that new loan or that refinancing of the existing loan. Fourth reason then to use the 8-week covered period would be if you're just over it. If you are done with PPP, you want to move on, not have to follow the ever-changing guidance, and just kind of want to get back to running your business, you might want to look at using the 8-week covered period to just shut it off and be done with it. I would caution you, don't do that to the detriment of maximizing your forgiveness. You'll probably regret that later, but if you are in a position where you have maximized your forgiveness in the 8 weeks, could be good just to kind of move on and get that past you. Now, some reasons for using the 24-week covered period. First off, and most obvious, you certainly just have more time to spend the money. So if you weren't able to use all of your funds on eligible purposes during that first 8 weeks, the 24 weeks gives you a lot more time to use that money on those eligible purposes. Second reason then would be that there's going to be more certainty. So as time goes on, we get more and more guidance, and the certainty around the calculation and how different components work certainly increases. Third reason then for using the 24 weeks could be you actually want to stretch out the time that you have uncertainty as to the amount of forgiveness. You could use that as negotiating leverage with landlords or suppliers if you're kind of working through some contracts there and you want to point to some reasons why they should be a little bit more flexible with you. Fourth reason then would be just holding on to your cash longer. So if you're in the position of looking at using the 8-week covered period and you'd have to actually kind of squeeze some additional expenses into that 8 weeks above and beyond what's really needed to run your business, you might want to look at going ahead and stretching it out to the 24 weeks, holding on to that cash longer, providing you some additional flexibility and liquidity to use that for other needs that might come up. Some final thoughts. You do have 10 months from the end of your covered period to apply for forgiveness. So there is not a rush by way of the deadline to pick 8 or 24. You can go ahead and run both scenarios. We've got a calculator available that makes it pretty easy to do that. There's a drop down. You can select 8 weeks or you can select 24 weeks, toggle back and forth in between and kind of see which situation is going to work out better for you using, combination of actual or forecasted results. Second thought then would be on the flip side, you can actually apply for forgiveness before the end of your covered period. So if you don't quite get to full forgiveness in 8 weeks, but you don't want to wait until the end of 24 weeks, if you've used up all the funds and calculate out to full forgiveness at say 12 weeks, you are able to go ahead and submit your forgiveness application at that time. So hope that helps give you some things to think about as you're considering your options on 8 weeks or 24 weeks. Let us know if you have any additional questions. Thanks.